Ladies and gents, it's time again for the Explorers Strategies. And it's random battle time again. Oh yeah. Now, if you've seen my last random battle, that was when I was using the tripod strategy against my opponent. But this time, it was suggested by one of the fans that I do an avatar strategy for this random battle. So here you go. I am the red nod, this is orange GDI, which we're calling Fred. This is the blue GDI, who we are calling Paul. And here is my partner, the light blue nod, who we are deciding to call Jeffrey. Why Jeffrey? Because it's an awesome name. Well, I've skipped the first little seconds because you don't really want to see the start up of a base, but I've got the essentials already up and running. Got a base to the mini base to the south. For some reason I have a couple of enemy units around my base, but they're not attacking, so base defenses, knock them out. Here's my other base to the west, and here's how Jeffrey's base is going on at the moment. It's going on alright, to be honest. It's got a load of power plants ready, make a base defenses, got loads of infantry coming up to the middle. And speaking of middle, there's an EMP coil. And we've also got a mini base to the southwest, but that's just so that I can put base defences closer to the middle. And so here is one of my opponents. As you can see, he's still got the basics, he's got those refineries, he's got 2 barracks up and running, and sending out plenty of units. And here's Paul's base, which is getting built up pretty fast as well. So this is probably going to be a very, very interesting battle. And already a struggle begins. This involving Paul and Jeffrey. What's the stupid thing here? Jeffrey is only using infantry, which sometimes can be good, but in this case isn't. And the 2 enemies have base defenses up and running and have plenty more units. And also stronger units at that. Here's my southern base with a line of base defences. If you haven't seen my keep safe strategy, which is practically a walkthrough on how to position your base defences, I suggest you watch it if you are more of a defensive player than an offensive player. Me, myself, I'm a quite balanced player, so I use both offensive and defensive. That's my first war factory up and running. And I've got plenty more stuff in my base. Here we go, a little struggle between Jeffrey and our orange opponent. 2 Scorpion tanks and a Raider buggy versus an APC. Who will win? Jeffrey wins this battle. And speaking of battles, there's a battle going on here in Paul's well-built base, which has already taken most of his part of the map. And here's the struggle. Well, actually this struggle's happening on the west, south of his base. which is getting sorted. And the battle rages on yet again. Now, for some strange reason, Jeffrey's infantry unit there all of a sudden just pauses, allowing those watchtowers to just rain down upon them. Now that is one of the worst tactics you could ever do in a match where your opponent is just pelting you with base defenses. Never stay still and keep moving all the time. You can even see now that Paul is now going into his ally's base because his base is just too big. And there's my finished base defense formation of my southern base. That is pretty much an iron hard defense. Anyone that gets past that is very lucky to get past it, because that is practically unbeatable. There you go again. Jeffrey again absolutely annihilated by Paul, because Jeffrey just happens to be done. I'm even making base defences over here, as I said, just in case the enemy decides to go up the hill and attack me from there. And there you go again. Oh, we just used the EMP coil on a war factory, which is a pretty good manoeuvre, because that will take out his queues for other vehicles. As you can see, it doesn't last for long, and so they all come online again, start making more units, and Jeffrey gets pelted out yet again. Now all those missile squads are very good together, because in numbers they can do a hell of a load of damage. As you can see, one Scorpion tank can do the easiest thing and just run them all over, which is another brilliant tactic. But the problem with running them over is you might take too long running them over, giving the missile squads the ability to then home onto you and take you out pretty quickly. Just like that. Now, I could have invaded his base and took it over by now. I could have potentially destroyed his base, but I just couldn't be arsed, because I was waiting to create my avatars and just rub it in his face. Jeffrey is consistent though, you have to give him that. He might get beaten most of the time, but he is consistent. And there are the first 4 of my 5 avatars. That's right, I only have 5 avatars for this entire movie. No more, no less. And this strategy video, if you're interested in it, will continue in part 2. See you there.